My name's Corey Jewel Jensen, and I am a sex offender treatment provider from Oregon. Prevent Child Abuse Kentucky hired me to teach a number of professionals in the state the curriculum that we developed in Oregon, which is a parent education class or community education class. The offenders talk about their specific reasons that they prey on or target certain schools, churches, families, certain kids, how they seduce kids, how they keep kids quiet, how they keep people from seeing what they're doing, how they talk people out of believing children when they tell, and how they talk people into not calling the police or child protective services, even if they catch them red-handed. In our clinic, because we have probably a couple hundred people go through every year, and have at this point had about 7,000 sex offenders gone through our clinic, we've had a lot of time to do surveys and interviews and collect data around those grooming strategies. For the most part, some of them occur, behind closed doors where it's just them and the kid, but other parts of the behavior occur right out in front of everyone. And if we can teach people to really pay attention to those behaviors, that would be really, really helpful for children. So one of the surveys we've done periodically is to ask our offenders how many of them had people in their world aware they were offending children and no one ever reported them. And it runs about half. Half the men that I've seen in my career had people who could have stopped them years earlier and for whatever reason didn't call and report that person. And in my mind, it's not even in the best interest of offenders to have people not report them because their problems get worse over time. They're more likely to spend more time in prison. They harm more children, obviously, which is the most important issue. We in general need a better informed, better educated population of adults who understand child sex abuse, who understand offender behavior, and can actually do something about that. Child sexual abuse is something that affects many, many children in the United States and in Kentucky too. 1 out of 3 to 5 girls and 1 out of 6 to 10 boys are sexually abused by the time they're 18. Very few children report what is happening. Studies say that only 5 to 13% of children tell when this is happening, which is very sad. We needed to do a better job of helping parents understand that if they talk about this subject a couple times a year, if a child is being molested, they're more likely to be able to disclose and get out of that situation. The other thing is that there are far more offenders, people molesting children in everyone's community than folks are aware of. There are studies that suggest that somewhere between 1 out of every 20 and 25 males have sexually abused children. We also know that between 5 and maybe 20% of the folks that are molesting children, those folks are girls and women, and people don't often think about females offending children. There are also studies that suggest that the average offender will commit somewhere between 100 and 200 separate sexual offenses prior to their first arrest. And that's a huge number. When you add up all the numbers, it does continue to seem like this is an epidemic that we're just not dealing with effectively. And we think probably one of the better ways to deal with it is to have more people have good information about child sexual abuse and prevention efforts that work. One of the most important things parents can do is talk to their children. Parents don't talk to their children about sex, let alone sex abuse. Children grow up with the idea that this is something that shouldn't be talked about. And that enables offenders to continue to be able to abuse children and never be reported or identified. We really need parents to step up and have the conversations with their children, have the conversations within their family, so kids know that talking about that within their family is a safe thing to do.